Urban conservative. Urban conservative. Urban conservative.
All leads back to control. The government controls what we eat. They control what we think. They control what we feel. And then we wake up one day and be like, damn, I got...
Urban conservative. Urban conservative. Urban conservative. Urban conservative. Urban conservative.
But isn't that American dream? That American dream is... Because there's more people that live that type of fucking American reality. But isn't that American dream? That American dream is. Because there's more people that live that type of fucking American reality. But isn't that American dream? That American dream is. Because there's more people that live that type of fucking American reality.
Q9 my futon, hold it up and smoke it. Transgression, a progression of a war we ain't asked for. Transgression, a progression of a war we ain't asked for. It's madness, yo. All the things that we could talk about.
Call it.
But let's talk about these urban circumstances real quick.
And basically it's the, and
we got this.
So
revolution.
Winner's frosty hand. Muhammad is the fame's name, forever stand.
Standing on royal fusing of justice for the few, ridiculed by the pale terrorists bent on genocidal obsession, rooted in fear of neglection and abandonment, fueled by nightmares of ancestors' jealousy.
Because at the end of the day, I still want to be able to I don't dislike George Washington.
The kind of friends I think our friends should be like my friends. My friends are the kind of friends I think everyone needs. My friends see the things at times I don't see. My friends hate the police.
What has changed?
Are deemed the criminals, and the blacks are deemed the criminals.
shut up and help.
Reflection ain't nothing but the inner child trying to see you. You gonna look? You gonna pick up that book?
Lord, keep me far from the faith. Guide me through night and day. Teach me your ways. Show me the righteous way to sway. Lord, can you teach me, please? Show me the way, I'd say. Grand Risings, and welcome back to another episode of the Urban Conservative with Chaz Neal. We're excited to have you join us on this journey of thoughtful discourse and community engagement. The Urban Conservative is proudly sponsored by Leon Black Network, an organization committed to promoting transparency, truth, and accountability in our media landscape. Here at the Urban Conservative, our mission remains steadfast to bring you the latest news directly from the streets, addressing critical topics such as gun violence, crime, politics, and perhaps most importantly, exploring solutions to the profound challenges our communities face. As we embark on this third season, the focus is clear. It's time to actively contribute to the transformation of our communities for the better. How can we achieve this? The answer lies in a multifaceted approach that starts with reconnecting with our core family values. Strengthening our sense of community is paramount. Fostering bonds that transcend the barriers that often divide us. Moreover, it involves embracing our foundational roots, recognizing the historical and cultural threads that weave through the fabric of our society. In this season, we're calling for more than words. We seek action. It's a plea to move beyond mere rhetoric and engage in tangible, impactful initiatives that contribute to positive change. The time for empty words has passed. Now more than ever, we need to put our convictions into action. Together, united by a common purpose, we can make a substantial and lasting difference in the well-being of our communities. So join us on this journey as we explore not only the challenges, but also the opportunities for growth and progress. Together, let's turn our shared vision for stronger, safer, and more connected communities into a reality. Thank you for being a part of the Urban Conservative with Chaz Neal, a platform dedicated to fostering change and making a positive impact on the world around us. Shut up and help. Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning. Excuse me. This morning, I wanted to talk about solutions, and I wanted to talk about violence. But first I like to talk about everything, just not politics, not just violence, not just, politics, Democrats, Republicans. I like to talk about a lot, so to actually educate my community. And I wanted to talk about literally what was going on with the weather, primarily, because we had some pretty impactful things happen over the weekend, with snow, with wind. I know here living in Minnesota, yesterday we had wind gusts up to 45 miles an hour. But I wanted to get into, let's start off in California first. And this is Donner's Pass in California. And they got over a foot of snow just that quick. And luckily some people were able to get off the roads, others weren't. But I want people to see this, and then I'm going to go into another story too as well. So here we go. And they got over a foot of snow in amount of time. This California, this area is known for snow, but just not in these amounts. This is more like of a mountain area. And but yeah, it was that really blew my mind. And here's the other one. So this was Saturday, or 19 hours ago. Hundreds of thousands of tumbleweeds have taken over a Utah neighborhood. This is South Jordan, which is a city in Utah. And this one kind of really just blew my mind a little bit. Back to what? So yeah, as you can see, there was some pretty dramatic events over the weekend from our weather, from snow, from rain, wind, yeah, everywhere was hitting it. Now, let me stop that. I also want to get into two other really quick stories that happened over the weekend in Georgia. One was at the Six Flags, and the other one was at the mall. And it just really it trips me out. So let me share this so you guys can see it as well. So as you see, fight breaks out at the opening day of Six Flags in Georgia, ending with police shooting a 15-year-old. This is okay. We're not going to get into all that. Police say they were called after they received reports of 500 to 600 people were running and fighting at the park. The park then cleared out and the fights continued outside of the park. Police say this is when multiple people began shooting. Police got involved in the shooting and hit a 15-year-old who allegedly had a gun. He is in critical condition. It is incredibly disappointing that our community is disrupted at public events throughout the region by groups of underage youth. Six Flags said in a statement, "We join our community in the Atlanta region in our commitment to safety and security. We won't put up with that type of activity here." So let's get into the video because it was crazy. Let's play it.
Knife on the stick, trying to get jiggy. They had found that boy alive, all of his body parts was missing. It's time to spin, let's go get busy. Bitch, I'm hanging out the trunk, you breaking BK, come through the tree.
Oh my God, that is a lot. Ryan, take a video.
That's, yeah. So that was one thing that had happened over the weekend was in at Six Flags in Georgia, outside of Atlanta, but also on the same day, there was a shooting in a Georgia mall that was blamed on, again, kids. And it's like, when are we going to actually pay attention to what is going on around us? And let's see if I can. I hate when they blame it on that they go automatically to Black people that that did it, and it's crazy as hell. Let's see what this is. So I'm gonna share this tab. I guess it's some. So this is the shooting. Again, kids.
Um, yeah, that's what we had happen here in Atlanta and Georgia. So you had literally, and it wasn't just Georgia either, because you also had Chicago, Illinois, that had a buck wild weekend with the juveniles. And it just makes me wonder, with everything that is going on, um, like, when are we going to pay attention to what is going on with our kids? Because they're literally, if we thought the 1992 crime bill was bad, we haven't seen the new one yet. You haven't even seen anything, because this one is directed at our kids. And do we honestly, and I know a lot of people right now really aren't seeing the get behind the Trump movement and are going red. We got to do something, and to me, it doesn't matter what it is, as long as you're not voting blue. Uh, we do need to do something else, because at the end of the day, our communities are suffering, and they're suffering because people say they care about our communities, and they really don't, because to them it's just a money grab. It's a grift. It's something for them to get paid. It's a job for them. Um, and that's what frustrates me, because I see all of these things going on in America, and yet it's like, what do we pay attention to? What do we pay attention to? Because homelessness is at an all-time high. Drugs are at an all-time high. I feel like drugs are worse than, the crack era. Honestly, you put the crack and meth era together, and we got the fentanyl crisis. That's how I feel, because you literally, when you go out, because I mean, honestly, how many, if you look back to, because I'm 46, so if we go back to the crack era, we can, and we compare going down to the inner cities, going to the metropolitan areas, going to, a baseball game, or going, downtown to just kick it. What do you see now compared to then? Because I'll tell you right now, you see way more homeless people. You see more encampments. You see more poverty. Because I think about it, like, we even look at like Gary, Indiana, which used to be a bustling town, factories, and now look at it. It ain't shit. Gary, Indiana is one of the just went downhill. The same thing with New Orleans. The same thing with South Central, with Watts. It's always the impoverished areas that get hit. Even though we try to, um, you know, keep on that legacy and make sure that uh, history is remembered. And I don't think we're doing a very good job at that, because we elect people uh, that aren't from here and don't know the history. So that's why we're losing historical buildings. We're losing um, things that actually really do matter. That's why you see the state flag changing, why they want to do this and that and that. And it's like, damn, really? Y'all don't even, like, what about the people that actually, born and raised here, and find some of those things to uh, reminisce with, and then it's gone. That's what trips me out, because how can something be such an impact on history, but yet, because it has to do with blacks, it's so quick to brush off and just get rid of it. Oh yeah, no, I know they still do, and that's what I'm literally going to talk about today, because over the weekend, um, Star Tribune came out with an article about a summit, a violent summit that is going to be happening in May in Minneapolis. And they brought in this group from Louisville, Kentucky. Well, when the Trib posted the article, um, I'd seen it, but then when it was somebody from the American Experiment, Bill Glenn, posted it, and made me want to look at it a little bit deeper, because
I've seen a lot of similarities in the cities, United Cities, and then Cities for Action. And I also seen that a lot of these cities on here they have consent decrees. They have a long history of police brutality. They have a long history of community violence. And then I'm like, damn, okay, so what has changed in any of this? Like, why do we continue to do programs that don't work? Right? And then you come to find out that these nonprofits are tied to political money, politics. Because, and that's why, you know what, let me be quiet and just let me show y'all exactly what I'm talking about. So this is about a minute and I want you guys to see this video. So this is Cities United. This is from their 2022 convening recap or some shit. Oh, no, this isn't the one I wanted to see. Damn it. Hold up. Let's go back because actually, you know what? I will play this one first and then I will find the other one. So let's play.
What's up, y'all? My name is Jalen Level. I'm from Louisville, Kentucky. We're here at Cities United convening in Baltimore. Man, it's been a blast. We've been in the youth pre-institution all morning and just coming here to network. It's been amazing learning about ways that we can improve our city, taking that nugget and knowledge back. I'm excited. It's just day one. We're going higher throughout the week.
So that kind of explained a little bit of what they do. Here's the actual video that I wanted to show. So let me set this up. Boom, 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 boom. All right. So hold up, wait a minute. Let me put some pep in here. All right, here we go. Now let me be quiet.
Convention alongside our city leaders and other mayors and organizations from all around the country. The mission was all about tackling violent crime in Baltimore and other cities across the country. WMER2 News' Brittany Werner joins us in the studio tonight. Brittany, I know they're all looking for solutions to the crime problem. Did they talk about how they hope to attack it?
Yeah, well, redeveloping public safety was part of the topic for this year's City United convention, with over 500 people in attendance, all discussing the same things, discussing proven ways to minimize violent crime and homicides in our communities.
We come in and help cities build out a comprehensive public safety plan.
It's what Executive Director of Cities United, Anthony Smith, says has been proven to help communities tackle violent crime.
The work is really around how do you create this ecosystem and how do you create an interconnected system that not only interrupts the cycle of violence, but also create better outcomes.
Smith says by cities creating an ecosystem that utilizes various mediums, including city leaders working alongside organizations like Cure Violence and Safe Streets, those investments can really help reach those who are at risk of being involved in violence.
Just give it 12 to 24 months to see if it's working, but also keep holding them accountable and say the things that are not working, we don't need to do anymore. But if it's working, keep that in place.
What have you seen as far as similarities across like some of the other cities? What has been similar about their crime issue?
So I think the similarities is we're talking about young Black and brown families and communities that have been historically underinvested in and historically hit with bad policies. If you truly want to make sure that young people and communities are safe, healthy, and hopeful, then you got to invest in that.
Smith says, like the investment Mayor Scott has made into creating an ecosystem in Baltimore with the community violence intervention strategy.
I'm gonna get into that,
how big
Robert,
of an
because
investment that
you're gonna want to know
compared to where
about
it was.
this.
He took it from almost $0 to $50 million. That can make a huge impact.
So big of an impact, other mayors attending this year's convention are looking to model the public safety plan that's being implemented here in Baltimore.
Now, as we heard from city after city after city after city this week, that they want to model after the work that we're doing here, and just excited to see that work happening across the country as we really change the narrative about what public safety means in America.
Everybody wants to see a solution to the crime problem. What other cities have implemented similar programs to fight crime?
Yeah, well, this was actually piloted in Philadelphia and New Orleans. However, the executive director mentioned that one of the cities that have actually seen results has been Oakland, California. And that's one of the cities that's seen results. Of course, they're doing it all over the country. The real question, though, is will people have the patience to actually see this work being done and to see it actually making a difference in our communities?
Wow. So the reason why I literally see, we're initially led to believe that Cities United is a nonprofit based in Louisville, Kentucky. But here's the twist, right? Because there's always a but and there's always a twist. Cities United is more like a project of Tides, an organization with a notorious far left stance. And they're not even based in Louisville. They're in San Francisco, California. And you know when something doesn't add up, it's time to dig deeper. And I'm questioning the ideological motives behind this summit. Is it really about reducing crime, or is it about pushing a hidden agenda? And that's for me of where I started to look at deeper, right? Because you look at a lot of these cities that are affiliated with this safe streets, and you do see Minneapolis, you see St. Paul, and actually, you know what? I'm gonna just read you the list because there isn't a lot, so just be patient with me, right? Because it's gonna take me about a minute or two, but I want to read all the cities. So you have Akron, Ohio, Allentown, Pennsylvania, Anniston, Alabama, Auburn, Washington, Baltimore, Maryland, Baton Rouge, Louisiana, Beaumont, Texas, Birmingham, Alabama, Bellagio, Alabama, Boston, Massachusetts, Brooklyn Park, Minnesota, Buffalo, New York, Camden, New Jersey, Chapel Hill, North Carolina, Charleston, South Carolina, Charlotte, North Carolina, Charlottesville, Virginia, Chester, Pennsylvania, Chicago, Illinois, Cincinnati, Ohio, Cleveland, Ohio, Colony, Alabama, Columbia, South Carolina, Columbus, Ohio, Dallas, Texas, Denver, Colorado, Detroit, Michigan, District Heights, Maryland, Dothan, Alabama, Durham, North Carolina, East St. Louis, Illinois, Eatonville, Florida, Evanston, Illinois, Fairmont Heights, Maryland, Flint, Michigan. Rest in peace, Eric Mays. That man was a godsend, man. If you don't know who Eric Mays was, go look him up. Because he really made me, as somebody like that, and that's what made me the type of politician I would actually get behind, is somebody that actually, when they say by any means necessary, that they mean it, and they live that shit. Forest Heights, Maryland, Fort Deposit, Alabama, Fort Wayne, Indiana, Franklin, Alabama, Gainesville, Alabama, Gary, Indiana, Grambling, Louisiana, Grand Rapids, Michigan, Greenville, Mississippi, Hampton, Virginia. That's where Allen Iverson, Harrisburg, PA, Hayneville, Alabama, Hobson City, Alabama, Holly City, South Carolina, Houston, Texas, Indianapolis, Indiana, Jackson, Mississippi, Jackson, Tennessee, Jacksonville, Florida, Kankakee, Illinois, Kansas City, Missouri, Knoxville, Tennessee, Lansing, Michigan, Las Vegas, Nevada, Lexington, Kentucky, Lisbon, Alabama, Little Rock, Arkansas, Long Beach, California, Los Angeles, California, Louisville, Kentucky, Lynchburg, Virginia. Should really Virginia, Lynchburg, Madison, Wisconsin, Memphis, Tennessee, Miami Gardens, Florida, Mill Valley, California, Milwaukee, Wisconsin, Minneapolis, Minnesota, Moss Point, Mississippi, Mosses, Alabama, Mount Bayou, Mississippi, Mount Vernon, Alabama, Mount Vernon, New York, Nashville, Tennessee, New Haven, Connecticut, New Orleans, Louisiana, New York, Newport News, Virginia, Newton, Massachusetts, North Chicago, Illinois, North Cortland, Alabama, North Miami, Florida, Oakland, California, Oklahoma City, Oklahoma, Omaha, Nebraska, Orlando, Florida, Pasadena, California, Patterson, New Jersey, Patterson, Louisiana, Pennington, Alabama, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, Pickensville, Alabama, Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, Portland, Oregon, Portsmouth, Virginia, Prairie View, Texas, Pritchard, Alabama, Providence, Rhode Island, Richmond, Virginia, Riviera Beach, Florida, Rochester, New York, St. Paul, Minnesota, Salisbury, Maryland, San Antonio, Texas, Savannah, Georgia, Seat Pleasant, Maryland, Seattle, Washington, Shaker Heights, Ohio, South Bend, Indiana, Southfield, Michigan, Spencer, Oklahoma, Springfield, Illinois, Statesboro, Georgia, Stockton, California, Tacoma, Washington, Tampa, Florida, Tuskegee, Alabama, Union City, Georgia, University City, Maryland, University Park, Illinois, Washington, D.C., West Orange, New Jersey, West Palm Beach, Florida, Wilmot, Arkansas, Yazoo City, Mississippi, and Yonkers, New York. A lot of that, I sat there and I looked up these cities, a lot of them, and their demographics, a lot of those are black areas, right? But then it made me wonder how long a lot of these cities have been in these programs. You know, how long have they done these initiatives? How long have they, because I'll tell you right now, the shit that they're doing doesn't work. It doesn't work. And we have shown that over and over again in Minneapolis. We have shown that these nonprofits are more part of the problem than really a part of the solution, for the simple fact of that how can you trust a group or, politicians that are bringing these forward, for the simple fact of when you look in their history with other programs, with our schooling, how this is what I'll never understand, right? It's how do you give these people millions of dollars when you go through their history and you see that they used to have a school, or that they used to have a recovery, abuse center, outpatient, and daycare and all this other shit that's been closed. It's been closed because of fraudulent behaviors, right, and activities. And yet we still continue to give these people money. And we don't even question it, right? Because when you start to question it, that's when you start to become the problem, right? You get ex-nayed. You get, oh, he's a part of the problem. No, because what, we're out here telling the truth. And yes, Minnesota Safe Streets, I'm coming to find out, is a part of that Louisville, Kentucky bullshit with George Soros. And that's why I really want to give it up to Bill Glenn, because when I did reach out to him about it, you know, he did take it serious, unlike Lou Ragoose, who I was messaging over 2 years ago about all the fraudulent behavior that was going on with, you know, 21 Days of Peace and all these other like Mother's Love and the Youth Task Force and UCMT, because all these people have their hand involved, and it's Bobby Champion, it's Mayor Fry, it's Latricia Vital, you know, Cedric Frazier, and it's like we still don't do nothing about it, and it pisses me off for the simple fact that we're seeing millions and billions of dollars going into an area that is getting not better but worse. So then I had to think about Angela Conley, right? How did she find a group all the way down in Louisville, Kentucky, right? Right. So I did my homework. I dug a little bit deep. So I seen the connections, and I'm going to talk about that because Bill Glenn is doing an investigative report on this. And because I was astonished that I don't even know really too much about George Soros. I know that he does do a lot of things, I guess, that are involved politically. He's a left-minded, you know, wants to, I don't know, weirdo, right? But so I'm starting to see that he's behind a lot of it. And then I'm starting to see that it might be black led, but it's not led by black people. These are all initiatives that people who do not come into our communities and that want gun violence control measures, because we got to think about it. We're in election year, right? Right? Even though May will be after our legislative session, there will be liberal legislators that are going to take advantage of this summit and say, oh, yeah, we'll be behind these initiatives. And then they'll get all this money thrown into the community, right? Because Angela Conley, I see what you're doing. You know what's crazy is you might have in Minneapolis fooled. I'm not fooled. I already knew what certain people were going to say about, I'm not even saying that he's evil, but his policies. And I'm definitely, when it comes to the community that I fight for and that I'm sitting here talking about, is I know that his money has gotten them into their seats. And nobody's going to tell me any differently when I can sit here and put paper and show receipts. And the fact that, and this is the crazy part of it, is I hate that it has to come down between left and right, but there definitely is. I already know, and that's the whole thing of it is. And this is what this is about. It's not about preventing crime in our community. It has nothing to do with that. And for me, I would really like to know, because the cities that they spotlighted, Philly, New Orleans, and Baltimore, last year, I had a gun violence activist on here. And even now, who he retired and started Stop Killing Us, and is still spotlighting the horrific numbers that Philadelphia has for gun violence, for what is going on in metropolitan areas, even with Chicago, Atlanta, Houston, Texas. So I don't understand it. I see when you start putting all these policies and who is and leading these policies, who's leading these organizations, it's sad as hell to see that it all comes down to politics. And like I said, I don't even know who George Soros is. I've heard his name for years, right? For the last 4 years, that's all I've heard. Oh, George Soros is paying you. Who? I know that there's people say that's conspiracy theories. I know a lot of what goes on in America goes back to certain families throughout history that still have influence and power till this day. So that for me is, and I hate the fact that I even have to, because for me, I could give two fucks about George Soros, right? But I know that a lot of the research that I do when it comes to these organizations and when it comes to, one thing that I've always that people have told me in this, if I wanted to be a truth seeker, if I wanted to be different than what anybody else was doing, it was to follow the money, right? It's always about follow the money. And it always goes back to certain people. It goes back to certain organizations. And it's on both sides. It's not just the Democrats and it's not just the Republicans. It's both sides, right? They all have agendas, and it's not about the community. I'm talking about Soros for the simple fact of, I know, and that's what I'm saying. You have on one side you got Soros, on the other side you got the Koch brothers. It's, to me, that's why I only brought up Soros for the simple fact of that when you go into these organizations, that's who you see behind them. Here's the thing of it is, people can think what they want to think. I'm just putting it out there. I'm just putting the information out there, and I want people to see it for what it really is. Because when it all links back to certain organizations and just certain people, doesn't 2 + 2 = 4? Like, are we not going to do math? Are we not going to put the shit and add it up? Or are we just going to look at it different? Look at it and be like, because we don't know how to do math, or we don't know how to do trigonometry, or we don't know how to do geometry. We need to really stop overthinking this political shit and just see the shit for what it really is. Because it ain't got shit to do about us. That's for damn sure. That's for damn sure. I don't give a fuck if it's Joe Biden. I don't give a fuck if it's Donald Trump. I don't give a fuck if it's Bobby Champion, Cedric Frazier, and Walter Hudson. Oh, I'm already knowing. You know what's crazy, Ben? Is I will say it like this, and this is the hard part for me, right? As being somebody that wants to do, journalism and wants to be impactful in my journalism. And I'll say my writing isn't the best. My speaking isn't the best. But all I know is that I want to tell people the truth. I want to give people the raw, regardless if it's ugly, as long as it's the truth, because a lie always hurts. Yeah, I do like Kanye. I do like Kanye. I definitely do. But I want to go back into what Ben was saying about is Georgia Ford. And I will say this is that you follow the money. Follow the money, because Georgia only covers certain stories. She doesn't cover everything, because I literally know for a fact that people have brought her stories and she doesn't cover them because of the simple fact they go at her sponsors. They go at her founders, people that have invested in her. So money talk, bullshit walks. These people are never, and that's where we get. Oh, Cornell West. Okay, I didn't know who you was talking about. Kanye. I don't know. I guess maybe you would have called him Ye. But yeah, so it's like you got to follow the money, and it's even with, like, the Minneapolis Foundation. I talk so much about these nonprofits, which the Minneapolis Foundation is a nonprofit. It's just bigger. Uh, it's Yeah, I don't even know what's right, and no, I do know what's right and wrong, but I don't think our community does, and that's the where we need to educate each other about the differences of, what is right and what's wrong, and what do these connections look like? What do they mean? Um, because when we do talk about, pushing a hidden agenda, when you talk about these other organizations that it's linked with, because Cities United network partners include heavy hitters like Every Town for Gun Safety and Amnesty International. We're not just raising eyebrows here. We're asking if this summit is veering into advocating for gun control measures under the guise of reducing crime. And here comes the money talk. Hennepin County is talking about $500,000 for this summit. The big question is this investment really about making communities safer? Are we funding a political spectacle? And because for me, when you look up Amnesty International, that's about immigration, and again, it's not something that I really want to. Oh, I know all about DA Bullock, and it's really odd to me that he's silent on this. It's really, and I've called him out because I know that he's gotten money from the city of Minneapolis. He's gotten money from the state of Minnesota, as well as a lot of these Minneapolis Foundation, the Bush Foundation, and he calls himself a truth seeker. But yet, when it comes to actually covering things that matter in the Black community, because he'll go at VTOL, which, okay, yeah, but then it light Felipe. So and I see him getting behind Jason Chavez. So I see him and Robin Wamsley and Shag Ty and Aldrin. So I know he's a DSA guy. So for me, it's whatever. I just know who. Right. Oh, I'm sure. And that's just the whole. People got to see these inner workings, because we did write legislation for this summit to come here last year. So it will be. They'll say that what commissioner isn't gonna be like, oh yeah, gun violence is up, gun crimes are up, and we need to do something about it. So it's again, it looks good on paper. It looks good on paper. But yet when it actually comes to putting these programs and these initiatives into work, right, inside of our communities, they don't work. They don't. And it does the opposite of what it's written to do, right? Because we think about, I was talking to a teacher over the weekend, and I asked them, they've been a teacher for a while, and I asked a few questions, and I said, what do you think is wrong with, our education system? And I said, especially with being that you are on the verge of a strike, soon. Because the kicker was the last time they went on strike and, signed the contract, they literally, before the ink even dried, right? They had literally signed, and not even 12 hours later, you had the superintendent from that school district saying that they were going to have to cut staff and programming because they paid certain employees more. They gave them more money in contract negotiations, which to me, that kind of was like a slap in the face for them teachers. And I understood what they were talking about, you know, because there was a lot of things that, you know, legislature should change. And one thing I was like, LIFO. And they looked at me and they were like, you know what LIFO is? And I said, yes, last in, first out. Which hurts Black and brown teachers in Minnesota because we go by a tier system, right? There's tenure. And it's not fair because you have a lot of, in our education system here, you have a lot of teachers that are older. And then when it comes to minority teachers, they're usually the first ones, you know, they're the newest ones. So they're always the first ones out. And we have to change that. And I know that's something that, and that's why I like Rashad Turner, you know, and Don Allen, because they've literally, and I don't agree with everything that they say or do. Just like I'm sure they probably don't agree with shit that I say or do. But it's literally, yeah, it is. And until we change that, you said you hit it right on the spot, Robert. It's a lot of old liberal white women. And that's what people don't want to talk about. You know, we talked about, you know, all of these things that they say they're going to better our communities. It only makes it worse. You know, because you're going to have these, I don't even know what group is with the gun group. I know Gifford or whatever her name is. I think that's what Moms on Demand or something. Yeah, I just didn't get it because when I literally looked at like their events that they did the last couple years, because I just literally thought about it. I really did, because we all want safer streets, but should taxpayers be footing the bill for lavish meals? We're talking breakfast, lunches, and what they call heavy whores, whatever appetizers. It's not just about crime. It's about questioning their priorities. Because is crime their priority? Is preventing crime their priority? Or is it, oh, come to Minneapolis and we're going to have these great breakfasts, we're going to have these great speakers, but are you actually solving or preventing anything that is going on in our community? Right? Because it trips me out. I will never understand this as Black people, right? As poor people, why we give a fuck about people's music, right? Or where they come from. But when it comes to words, we care more. But when it comes to these punk ass actions of fraud, of people scamming and brutalizing and traumatizing our communities, we don't say shit. We don't say shit. We don't hold each other accountable. And that's the one crazy thing for me, because I see what Charleston White be talking about when he talks about our community and how a lot of the men in our community are cowards and punks. I understand what he's talking about now. And that's why I look at a lot of our community members, our community leaders, in weird eyes now, because I see that they care more about money than actually doing the right thing. Because motherfuckers will go promote, you know, homeless encampments in other cities, but then they'll forget about the homeless community that they forgot about when there was ordinances written. They didn't go stand up for the community. They didn't go stand up for the homeless and community in Rochester. You know why? Do you want to know why they don't do the things that they do in Rochester, that they do in Minneapolis? Because the money. You're not gonna bite the hand that feeds you. That's why you didn't see none of those organizations coming out and speaking out against the homeless ordinance in Rochester. You didn't see the activists, but when it comes down to going to Minneapolis and putting shit together, they're all about it. Because you know why? It doesn't affect where they shit, where they sleep, right? It doesn't affect where they sleep, where they do their shit. But they can go to another community and bring them the resources from the community that they actually live in and take away from that community to bring to another community. Make it make sense to me. Because that same and that's what really confuses me about all of this, man. It's like I get wanting to do the right thing. But is this all about clout and fame and likes and shit? Because at the end of the day, that's all I see a lot of our community leaders doing. It's bowing down and forgetting about the same people you're supposed to be speaking up for. It's the same thing in Rochester. It's the same thing in Minneapolis, St. Paul. You don't see people speaking up for the community. You see people bowing down, all in the name of money, right? Because if money was actually going to solve our issues, wouldn't we already have it? With billions of dollars going into Minneapolis, with billions, right? And I'm not just talking about from state and federal, because even our own community members have put up money to some of these nonprofits that said they were going to help, that they were going to do things in the community to make it better, that we've never seen. I don't get it. I don't get it. I don't understand it. And that's what, for me, bugs the hell out of me. Because just for that reason of that we care more about words than somebody's actions. And it's like, when are we going to care more about what actually people are doing than what people are saying? And that's what really trips me out. Because I'm going to play this video, and I want you guys to, because it's about an activist that we've talked about before, Mr. Sir fucking Major.
Hi, this is Hank Haney, Tigers' former coach, and you can get the new
2020, this house made headlines in connection to activists turned alleged fraud Sir Major Page. Neighbors say since the house was abandoned, it's been set on fire and become a hot spot for squatters and looting.
13 ABC's Willie Danley getting some actions and answers in this week's Neighborhood Nuisance.
Tina, here on Glenwood and Toledo's Old West End, there are tons of historic homes, many of which are over 100 years old. People living on this block of Toledo's West End tell me it's sad to see a historic home fall into disrepair, but after what they've seen occur here, they want the place gone.
We need something done with it to tear it down, because it's an eyesore.
This house on Glenwood Avenue in Toledo has been a problem spot for neighbors long before it was abandoned. The home was purchased by Sir Major Page, the activist who allegedly used money from his Black Lives Matter of Greater Atlanta charity to purchase the house, among other things. Marcus Busticker lives next door. His mom was home when Page was arrested at the property in 2020.
Scared the crap out of my mom to see the FBI. We get it, they're doing their job, but to see it active in action, it scared her because she was watching TV. And she looks up, she's like, oh my God. Well, they had it swarmed.
Ever since Page was arrested, the home has been vacant, except for the squatters and neighborhood kids who use the place to party.
It's an eyesore. Like, you know, we have a nice neighborhood here. We got a lot of nice people. And we don't want to have people that aren't from here living in the building.
Bussticker says it's not good for children in the community to see addicts in and out of the home.
And I don't want that to see other kids to see that here. They shouldn't have to.
Then in January of this year, the place caught fire due to a space heater. With people coming and going illegally, neighbors are concerned their homes could be the next target. So what can be done? The city of Toledo's code compliance department tells me its hands are tied. There's not much it can do with the property since it's still a part of a federal investigation. To give neighbors some peace of mind, the department sent an inspector out to see what they can do to keep people out. As for Bussticker, he loves the neighborhood and thinks tearing the place down would help keep up the curb appeal.
You can plant some flowers or have like a little park. I could even cut grass here so the kids can enjoy it, and it wouldn't be such an eyesore.
I reached out to Major Page for comment, but have not yet heard back. And like I said, since this property is a part of a federal investigation, there's not much that the city of Toledo can do at the moment. But people living nearby say that they will stay vigilant and continue to report what they see, hoping that it expedites the process. If you have a troubled property in your community that has become a neighborhood nuisance, feel free to DM me on the social media below. Or send me an email at
William Danley. This is Toledo, Ohio. So if you're in the Toledo, Ohio area. But yeah, that was something that really, it blows my mind of what we will allow in our communities as Black people, right? But we get mad over words. And I had to, and I've said things before, right? Because, so I don't know. He's got me blocked. I don't care. But it trips me out because Isaiah Washington, the disruptor, is made a statement. And it all has to do with some HBCU party that went on at the White House with Kamala Harris. And but for him to be literally sticking up for this clown, a well-known Black Lives Matter activist who is now supporting Trump in an attempt to intimidate him and scare him with lawsuits, right? But now this is the crazy part, because I had to tell Buddy to sit his ass down. And I'm going to play the video to see what the sexy red. Let's see how bad it is.
Y'all, I'm at the VP house. They playing Sexy Red. Y'all, I'm at the VP house. They playing
So
Sexy
they was
Red.
at Kamala Harris' house. And I told him, I said, leave us alone. He's not one of us at all. George Floyd's death on Facebook. So let's play it. Sir Major Page indicted for fraudulently fundraising off of George Floyd's death on Facebook for his own personal gain. Now, we as Black people will get mad. Yeah, I seen that April is, yeah, he goes to trial in April. And but get mad over some over fucking music. But we don't get actually mad because and this is the crazy thing for me that gets me pissed off, because it's a fucking election year, right? That's the whole reason. And I don't give a fuck if that albino ass nigga is going for Trump, right? Because at the end of the day, why would we even trust these motherfuckers when he was doing it before, all under the name of Biden, right? And all under the name of Black Lives Matter. So why? I'm really starting to look at these people really weird, because it's like, what do we stand for? Y'all can't stand for something because y'all fall for anything. You literally fall for anything. And to literally stick up for a man who cares, who says he's about his community, well, go clean up the house that you left there, sir. Are you not allowed to go over there because of you have trial and you're still under federal investigation for wire fraud, for embezzlement? So go clean up Toledo. You do all that rah-rah shit on Twitter Spaces. You go in there talking about you're running for Congress, which is a fucking lie. because you're not on any of the Ohio, you and that weird ass nigga re-ups, gay ups, whatever the fuck you want to call. You know what's crazy is, I just thought about this. Y'all probably part of the Black Brotherhood. That's what it is. Y'all gay bros. Gay bros. Y'all part of that gay bros, platonic boyfriends type shit, right? Ops. Right? Like, I don't even understand that shit. These people are weird, man. And that's why I honestly feel like we never going to get anywhere, for the simple fact of everybody that is so-called a leader, so everybody that is so-called a politician who says they're for our community, when you dig deeper into them, they're not. You see that they've been doing fraudulent shit with these nonprofits and these black churches, and yet we don't say shit because they say they want to better our kids' education. Why would we let them anywhere near our kids' education when all they have done is fuck their kids over and over and over again? They've had charter schools closed, right? There was one just closed just recently in Minneapolis over north, right? And was in debt up their ass. And it's like, when the fuck are we going to speak up and say something? When? So are we going to wait? Because when is the right time? Are we going to wait till our kids are really suffering and then we're going to finally say something? Because it really trips me out how these niggas will go over some words. And then I'm talking about everybody, man. I'm talking about Mark Carter. I'm talking about all these niggas out here that are you saying you're fighting for our community, right? You're fighting for our communities, but what are y'all really fighting? That's what is this about Democrats? Is this about how many people you can flip to be a Republican? Because doesn't the scamming, doesn't the trauma that has our communities continually go through with these organizations, with the lying, with the pandering? I don't get that. What do people really into this for? I will never understand that, because it's like anybody that we bring to the table always has some bullshit. And then the people that are actually doing really good shit, you have our mayor or our elected leaders shit on them. We've seen that over and over with our Black city staff that are actually doing great work, and all because they won't bend to their system and maybe they speak out when fucked up shit is happening, and yet they're seen as the bad guy. They're the ones that shitted on, and then yet we don't even go to bat for them because we continually allow the MAKs to continually do what they do. The Heather Johnsons. It really trips me out. That's why I really don't follow anybody in Minneapolis anymore. I think a lot of this shit is a joke. And basically, I do my own shit. I literally do my own shit. I do my own shit. Because I can't stand the fuckery. Don't sit out here and say you fighting for our community when you ain't doing shit. You ain't doing shit. All you're doing is getting a little grant money. You're not speaking about the things that really matter in your community. And then I finally get why these people, oh, politics really ain't. No. Politics is your thing. You just get paid to be quiet. You get paid to be quiet. And when they need you to do something, you do it. Right? I see how all this shit goes, man. And people just, instead of, they get mad. Instead of trying to have a thoughtful discussion, a discourse, They get upset instead of just saying, you know what? You're right. You're right. I got to take care of my family. I got to take care of my family. You know, I don't want to be living like that no more. But what about everybody else, the people that you say you're fighting for? Because your few might be okay, but what about the rest of the community? Stop saying that you're fighting for everybody. Because I'll tell you like this: Minneapolis, Rochester, Otana. I literally can send you. I can show y'all my inbox. My inbox. And that's why it pisses me off, and that's why I go so hard on these community leaders, right? Because stop saying y'all are doing something when you're not, when you don't give a fuck about the people in your community. You don't give a fuck. And I mean that. And stop saying you're people of God, because you're not. God don't like ugly, and y'all ugly as hell right now. I mean that. Stop saying y'all are men of God, because you're not. You're not. You're not men of God. You're not. You're not. So stop using that shit. Stop using that. Because I'm going to tell you right now, I'm coming. I'm coming. Rochester, I'm coming. I'm coming. As soon as I get these data requests back from the city of Rochester, and I can dig through these contracts, and with the Rochester public school system, and I can dig through these contracts, I'm going to show people of how much y'all been getting from who, and why y'all ain't doing shit for the community, and why y'all only do the things that you're allowed. You don't do the things you want to do. You do the things you're allowed to do. There's a difference. You're allowed to do certain things, because when it comes to speaking up for your community, they tell you to sit your punk ass down and shut the fuck up. And that's what they do. They sit down and they shut the fuck up. Because at the end of the day, they got to get paid, because they just bought that new house. They got to go take a vacation. They have a new car, right? Right? Because when you speak out, they call you a whistleblower. They call you a snitch. See, I'm not part of you. You can call me whatever you want. I'm not a part of that bullshit. I'm not a part of scamming the community that I love and that I want to see everybody do good, just not a few. Because I don't want to see Black excellence. I want to see Black greatness, because Black greatness is everybody, right? There ain't nobody, just a few of us are Black excellence. No, get the fuck out of here with that. Right? Right? So, we're going to get this week all started off right. And I will be doing more episodes later on this week, adding to context about certain things. And there probably will be pre-recorded episodes, 20 minutes here, 20 minutes there, that I'm going to do. And I'm going to talk about certain subjects, whether it's Jerry McAfee in West Salem and his fuckery with schools and rehab centers that he doesn't know how to run. So, yeah, we definitely will be talking about that. And I want people to pay attention to what's going on in the state of Minnesota, because how do we have directors with no college degree, but one of the qualifications for the job is for them to have a college degree? And then they come to find out they're good friends with the director of that department. So, again, makes you wonder, makes you look at shit differently when it comes. And just to know that if you live in the metro area of the Twin Cities, this morning, go greet your new migrants that just came in on the bus. buses did come in this morning. If you go look at Bill Gland's page, it is there. So this shit is really real. We are going through a crisis. We are going through something that we've never seen before. And it's only going to get worse. You know how they always tell you that it's before it gets better, it's going to get worse. That's what I'm telling y'all. Buckle up. Buckle up. Because it's about to get worse. Buckle up. Supreme Court did come back with a unanimous decision to keep Trump on the ballot as well. Everybody kind of figured that was going to happen. And the reason why I guess they came back with that decision was that it is not the state's decision to take people off the ballot with the article that they were using. That is for Congress and Congress only. So that being said, I hope everybody has so niggas for Trump is still going to be going on. So he ain't off the ballot, even though Nikki Haley won DC last night. So everybody buckle up because the shit's only going to get rougher. Win or fail, freedom or jail, heaven or hell. Wish me well. Y'all have a great one.
Urban conservative.